Welcome to my channel. My name is Arissa and this is Arissa Root Art. And today I'm working on, I think this is an 18-inch round canvas. It's a wood canvas, it's a piece of wood that I've kind of dry brushed with a paper towel black. And the first thing I'm going to do a flood coat of, a top coat really, of black using the Promise 1 hour epoxy. And it's just going to be straight black. I'm using this, the Promise 1 hour fast cure epoxy. That'll be the first layer of this. And then we're going to put some other stuff on it. So I'm super excited for this project. So I'm just going to mix my resin really quickly. If I prepared myself and gotten a cup, that would have been great, but it doesn't seem like I did. So now I got to find a cup that I want to use. One moment. I will be right back. I need to go get a new cup because I don't want to reuse a cup. All right, so I am going to just use probably, I don't want a bunch on here. I would like to do 7 ounces, but this cup doesn't measure 7 ounces at all. So I will do, I'll probably do 6 or 8 ounces and just use my extra. One moment. Okay, sorry, my kid was texting me. I want to do 7 ounces, but I don't have a 7 ounce mark here. And this cup does not do half marks really, 130. It will do 220, which is just about 7 ounces. You know what, I'm lying. This cup does have half ounces. Yay. So I'm gonna do 7 ounces in this cup. I am excited because it does have 3.5 ounce marks. Woo, I forgot how thin this stuff is. So this is the Promise 1 hour fast cure. Really like it. And I'm gonna color it just using the black pigment paste by Tea Expert. I'm almost out, which is quite unfortunate, but I do like the color of that one. So let me put my other 3.5 ounces in here. This stuff is really weird because it's really thin. When you pour it, the viscosity seems really low, but it gels up super quickly, which I absolutely love. So I'm just gonna stir this for 3 minutes or so, and we'll get this poured. I will be right back. All right, so this is just about mixed. And so my timer's got 10 seconds on, so I'm going to let it go. And I'm sitting here trying to decide if I want to add, part of me wanted to add some gold to it, but I don't think I will. No, I don't think I will. I'm like determining this. What do you want to do, girl? What do you want to do? Just in case, once I pour it, I decide I want to, I'm going to just take a tiny, tiny bit. Because if you're working with the metallics, the metallic powders, you just never need that much because they spread so much. So I'm just going to reserve a little bit and then get my rest colored to black as I would like it to be. I want it completely opaque, so I'm giving it a nice amount. And I will check it, make sure it's all opaque. Making sure I mix it all thoroughly also. Scraping this, the spoon, the stick. And then making sure that it's mixed in super, super well. More than that, I just want a little bit more even. I want it opaque. Because like I said, this was whitewashed before. It was kind of a grayish whitewash. And I didn't want to have to fight that. So I just did a really quick coat of the Oxide Black by Amsterdam. I just brushed it on and then took a paper towel and rubbed it in. Now, my goal also here is not to get this over the sides. I want this to kind of just flood up to the edges. And that's part of the reason I'm using this, because it thickens up so quickly. And I don't want, there, I think that looks good. I'm just gonna pour this and move it to the edges. Hopefully I have enough. It does not have to be a thick coat. And if I need more, I can certainly do more. Because it's just that black, so it does, I'm not worried about it matching, but I just want a nice base here. And just put that up there since it's dripping on my covering here, my table covering. Now I'm determined, I'm deciding, because I do have enough to cover the edges, but do I want to? I might as well. It's because I have so much left over and I don't want to waste. And it is already taped on the side, so it's not going to be a big deal if I get the paint over the side. I just didn't want to mix up too much resin on this layer, but I have extra, so let's cover the side. This way. And then I'll still put my extra resin in the center, and I think it'll be okay that it won't run too much because, like I said, over and over again here, it gels up so much and it's pulling off of the edges a little bit right here. So I really want to make sure that I don't have too little, because if you have too little, it'll pull away from the edges like it is. So it's a balance thing where you don't want a tremendous amount, but you really don't want too little either. Let me get my stick, because I guess that doesn't matter if I get it dirty. But I'm going to use all of this resin. Because I don't waste expensive resin. And resin is very expensive, but this resin is expensive. And I'm not wasting it. I am still aware of the little bit I have in the cup next to me, but it's so very little that I'm thinking I'm going to have a little extra time with it, but we'll see. If I don't, I will put it into something. All right. What I want to do, before I even determine if I'm going to use that, I'm going to put this away and turn it upside down. If you put your stick to, like, plaster it to the wall and then turn it upside down, balancing on the stick like that, the promise really comes out really, really well off of that cup. And even with those cups like that, they don't really release resin all that well sometimes, but the promise will. All right, this is still good. This glove has a little bit on it, but I'm still gonna get my heat gun here since my right hand is clean. Started away from my piece. Oh, plug it in. Literally, I don't think I have enough patience for this little one. I'm gonna get a big one. My wall here, I just don't have the patience. It's nice and it's gentle, but it's not what I want to use right now. So I'll use my big one. Okay, I'm getting some pulling away. So I'm just going to, because it's starting to thicken up already, move it along towards the edge myself. Like so. Making sure all the edges are covered. and sides also. Now, do I want to add gold in? So I'm showing you, I'll show you what I'm going to put on yours. This is going to have a cross on it. Ooh, I was like, where did I put it? But I spray painted it. So let me grab it. It's going to have a black cross on it. And so the black cross will have some elements of gold too. But I don't know if I want gold ribboning throughout this piece. I'm so determined to do it right. I don't know what I want to do. What do I want to do? Maybe I'll just mix it and see. So I'm going to use antique gold. Violet's resin, I think. No, Tecaroos. I'll use that gold. And just a little bit of this. And it is a metallic powder, so it will float. You don't need a tremendous amount in the resin at all. And you certainly don't want a knot on your piece. And this resin that I put aside is perfectly fluid still. It hasn't thickened up yet. And that's because I decanted it into such a small amount. So that is the gold I have. Now I have to make sure, because the gold I want to use on that piece, I need to make sure it's comparable to this gold so they match. And I don't know if I have a gold that is like that. So I may add a little copper in, because this gold that I just put on here has a little bit of a green tint to it, I can see. And so I'm just going to put a little bit of copper in there to give it a little orangier color. There, just like that. Maybe even a little more. I don't want the powder over, so I'm not stirring that much more over my piece. All right. So if I just want a little bit of veining, I'm going to start off my piece with this and let it get to a really short, thin stream, and then move it over my piece like so, and go all the way off. So don't try to stop in the middle of, oops, touched it there. So I'm going to come off here and go from this side to meet there. And just like I've done before, in the end, I did the gold and didn't like the gold, so I put another layer of black over it so the gold was gone. So you don't need to see all this. All right, guys, I couldn't do it. I didn't like the gold. I just wanted the black. So I just poured another thin layer of the black over. Let me put that away. Softening up that little dip I just caused a little bit. I'm not gonna worry about it right now because this is not my first. Okay, so yes. So I just poured another completely black opaque layer over the gold just to get rid of it because I didn't like it. In the end, I wanted this to be very minimalist. I'm trying to just find out where the cording is on this thing. There it is. So now it's straight up and down. I wanted it to be very minimalist, but with pops of gold still. So what I did on my cross that I have, I just took the black spray paint, and then I took, the black spray paint came out shiny, even though it's an ultra matte spray paint. So I took my oxide black and dry brushed it again to kind of tone that shiny black down. And then I took my gold metal mica powder, and I just, while the spray paint was a little wet and the black, I just rubbed over it just to kind of give it a gold shift. So it's black, but it's not the same color black. So I think it will stand out well. And I think I want it right here on this because I'll end up putting something else in there. So I am going to, oh, I also spray painted the back black too, because I'm going to have it hanging off. So I'm going to put it here just so I can sink into this wet resin and kind of get solidified in there while this dries, and then subsequent layers of resin will help do that too. So this is the first part, and I'm really excited about it. I like how that looks. So I will be back with the second part. Okay, guys. Bye, I was racking my brain all night trying to figure out what I wanted to put on this piece. Let me close my door all the way here. And because of the dark color of this, I thought I would go with yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Now, I didn't just want to put the scripture on here and leave it just so much black. So I created a stencil that is a valley. So now the trick will be getting this stencil on this piece so I can then apply, I want a matte stencil to it. And so I need to be able to apply the stencil, take off the relief or the parts that I need to have color, and then color it and then do this. However, this is an 18-inch round, so my Cricut can't print that. So I had to divide my stencil in half and create two 9 by 18 inches. They're slightly bigger than 18 inches because I just wanted to have a little extra wiggle room in here. But now I'm super nervous because now I have to place it. But this isn't a permanent stencil paper, so it's not gonna be the biggest deal if I have to like take it off. So I'm just cutting right up to the lines of the stencil because this is the left side, or the right side, I should say. And I need to apply it to this midline on the piece that I created. So I'm super nervous because I don't like wasting stencil paper. And so while it won't mess up my piece if I've not done this correctly, it's going to just waste my stencil paper. Now also on the left side, I have a cross there. I perhaps should have done this before I put the cross there because now I have to cut around that cross, which will add an element of fun, but I think it will work out because it has to, basically. Or I'll change my mind. It doesn't have to. I'll just go a different direction if it doesn't. So I'm just cutting, again, right up to the stencil line because there is a middle line on here, and I'm cutting it off right where I need it to be. If my paper doesn't curl so much. Now the problem is that I know this is where I want my stencil to be. Now it made the stencil slightly bigger, like I said, so I have to line it up where I want it to be, but also have a proper overhang on each side. So it will be an exciting thing. So I'm gonna line it up first here. Oh, I have two lines there. So this is lined up pretty much. And again, nothing is perfect, so I'm not worried about perfection. So I want it there, but I need to keep it here and kind of, I think, slowly take the stencil off, the backing off of this stencil. And so I'm just gonna kind of tape it in place, I think, for now. And then work it out. And then I definitely will be not talking so much, I think, because this is making me nervous. But I will work it out, I think. So I'm gonna just put it here, not on a part where I have to take off. And then add my picture for reference so I can know what I'm doing for this one. So I know this little bit here, I'm gonna want off. So for now, I'm gonna take the stencil, I'm gonna weed it on the piece, if that makes sense, because I want the whole backing to come off. This tape on my finger does not help me get the backing off. I want the whole backing to come off, and then I'll leave the entire stencil on the piece, and then I'll weed it off of the piece. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. Hopefully it works, right? So I'm just gonna get my weeding started off of this piece. Hopefully not leaving the stencil behind because I want the stencil to come off. Oh, but I'm gonna leave the stencil behind. Okay, so I'm gonna weed this because it's an easy weed stencil, of course. Of course it is. And I want this to come off and stay. So I'm gonna do that right here. Okay, so like I want the stencil on the piece. I'm gonna cut this down so I don't have to deal with controlling that much paper. And so I'm slowly just gonna peel the backing, I think, off. No. Oh, this is gonna be difficult, y'all. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that there because I know I want, ultimately, I need this part to stay on. What am I gonna do? Let me think for a moment. Because what I don't want to do is end up leaving taking the pieces off that need to be off and leaving the pieces on that need to be on. So I know this part, this thing right here, needs to stay on. So I'm going to put it on right there, because everything around this will get a different color. So I know this part right here needs to stay on. So I'm going to go around it and put that part on. Oh, this is going to be hard. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I knew this was going to take me a while. I think it ended up taking me like 12 minutes. So certainly you guys weren't going to sit there and watch this in real time. I ended up just taking off all the big pieces I knew I was going to end up coloring on the piece. So I could see only the parts of the stencil I need to have remain. And that way it was a lot easier to just cut away the white backing paper as needed and as I could, just to get him stuck down and in place. You'll see, I'm just going to fast forward through the other side too. So you'll see that I did a much better job of being more efficient for the left side of this piece. But for this one, we're just going to listen to some music while I get this stencil placed. And I will come back to real time when I'm starting to paint. Bye. Which is great. I'm trying to see something here as far as the actual image. Okay, so I just drew kind of a line to make it look like the valley just kind of continued up until the end of the piece. So I'm just gonna get that cut here. It's rough, but you know, this is abstract, so I'm not worried about it. And so I'm just gonna pull this up. Cut that and lay it flat. All right, so I like it so far. This is cool. I have to keep on moving. My watch is telling me to stand up. I've been standing up this whole time. I love an Apple Watch. But I know I need to clean this off. So I'm gonna grab some alcohol because it's all nice and taped down right here. I'm gonna get some, I just noticed that it's coming a little short right there. And I don't want any parts like that stopping abruptly. So all I'm just gonna do is take an extra piece, line it up with one side, all the way in, and then cut it to match the line of this piece, like so. Yeah, that all works. So where's my alcohol bottle? I'm short, I'm out. So because the parts that I need, whoops, I tried to close my big bottle with the spray. Because the parts that I need are covered with the vinyl, I can go ahead and make sure I clean off the mark that I put in there. And also I've just been touching it a lot. So I'm gonna make sure, oh look, I did it. I've been standing and it's finally told me I've been standing. So just cleaning it off, getting all the marker off. I don't want to spray that cross because I didn't really seal in the mica that I put on it, which I will do in the end. I'll do it with like gloss varnish. So I'm just going to do this, get it all clean. I kind of want to rough this up a little bit before I throw paint on it, just so I know the paint will stick. Probably should have done it before I put the vinyl on it, but I didn't want to, and I didn't think about it, if we're being honest. And so I'm just going to take a sanding block and lightly rough up through here so I have my paint stick to this. It does not have to be very rough at all. And it doesn't have to be, yeah, you don't have to be too aggressive with this, just so there's a little bit of tooth to the vinyl. And kind of go along the edges of the vinyl, don't go against it so you don't pull it up as much as you can. Oops, oh, I didn't pull it up there. And so I was going back and forth with regard to how much texture I wanted to put on here. If I wanted to put like texture paste on here to make the black pop, but I don't think I do. I kind of want this to kind of fade in the background, this part of it, the color part of it, because I want the colors, the words to pop. So let me get this roughly cleaned off and then use a new towel. People laugh at me because I keep my paper towels. Like if I wash my hands and dry them on a paper towel, then I don't throw the paper towel away. I just use it in this room. And people laugh at me at work. They literally just sit there and make fun of me and think I'm crazy. But I'm like, whatever, I'm saving money on paper towels. That's what I care about. Because we use a lot of paper towels in here. So as much as I can save, I'm saving. All right, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done, correct? Sorry, my table's super squeaky today. I don't think I've ever noticed it was that squeaky. See? I'm gonna have to oil this thing up a bit. Okay, just this way. I'm gonna use just my black, oxide black, but I wanna use a sponge to paint. So I'm just gonna get a little piece of the sponge here and just sponge it on, I think, right? Yeah. Because I just want a very subtle layer of this. So I've got my oxide black here. I'm gonna get a paper towel that you can see I've tamped black off before onto it. I don't waste paper towels. Get that. The majority of all of this, I'm taking it off in the bottle of oxide black so I don't just put a bunch of paint on my paper towel. So I don't waste that either. And then I'm just gonna stamp this. I'm gonna get off my table like that because that squeak is bothering me even. Because I just want a subtle shadow of the valley on here. And so the texture can be like this, just this tamping. I'm not worried about the sides with regard to this part. Sorry, that was a lot of trying to talk without successfully talking. And so I'm just gonna go through, stamp. Okay, I think I like it. I like the texture. So now I'm gonna clean my gloves and see how much of this we can pull off, right? Because again, I do not want this drying on here. I'm super sad. I lost the Cricut tweezers that came with my original Cricut that I bought. And I love them so much. And I just don't want to spend, like, you can get more, but if you buy them, you have to buy the other tools. I have all the other tools. I don't want to buy them, but it's like 30 bucks. And I'm like, I'm too cheap for that. I don't want to buy those tweezers again, but they're so wonderful. I love them because they're strong. All the other tweezers I buy seem to be super weak, which is not fun. There we go. And so you see, I'm going to have this moment of shine, and I will clean up all the marker as I go. But it's going to be a daunting task to find all the pieces that are vinyl. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm going to start where I can see it. Because I know that's there and I'm just wasting time. I'll get to that one. Get off my finger. There we go. I know there's vinyl here, so I'll get that off. And there's a piece here. And then all this in here. I'll get all that out. I might need some tweezers just to help me out. Tweezers are so cheap. They bend so easily. And then they don't want to grip. So I'll fast forward through all this, getting all this off so you can see the process, but I won't talk through and make you watch this whole thing, because that's a lot. I think I have it all, but I'm going to certainly go to my Cricut app and reference to make sure I'm not missing some big pieces or anything like that. I don't see any more shadows of it all here. Yep, little guy. This comes down like this, just kind of comparing what I see versus what I pulled. This looks good. So does that. And then this line is there, then this line is there, then this line is there, and that's there. That one was off. So here I got this one, I got these two that go into one, and this little guy. Oh, nope, see, I have one little piece here that I'm missing. Right there. There you go. And then another piece here that I missed. Okay, and that little thing, I think I'm good now. I think I have it all. So now I have this shadow of the Valley of the Shadow of Death, which is beautiful to me. I will clean all this up and then I'll let this dry. It's a very thin coat of black. Let me see what you see. Yeah, I like how that looks. It's a very thin coat of black, so it's not gonna take that long to dry, maybe an hour I'll give it. And then I'll come back and we'll put a clear coat on before I put any vinyl words on, which I haven't even printed yet. So, but first I need to close my paint, and I'm gonna get these sharp little Q-tip thingies I have. They're not Q-tips. They're for cleaning the barrels of things that go pew-pew. Not the barrels, but different parts. These little things, they're kind of hard, which I like because it helps me clean and it gives me a little force. So I just dip it in to my alcohol and then I can clean where I need to. And because they have some force to it, I have some power behind my cleaning. And they're hard, so I can get right up to my line too. This is nice and dry. I cleaned up the unpainted parts as much as I could. They're not going to be perfect, and it's going to be okay because a lot of this will be covered by wording. But I mixed up 6 ounces of the, what is it? J-Diction 4-hour fast cure. And I'm just going to give this a nice little clean, clear coat. So it's all mixed. I'm not going to worry about putting it in my debubbler, vacuum chamber, or anything like that, because it's going to be just a very thin coat and it will degas on its own. But I am going to just get it close to the cross as possible, just so it can be covered like so. And so you see the black in here, the black paint and the black epoxy that's showing, they're going to be similar but more shadowy. So it's not going to be overtly a valley. I don't want that. I want it to kind of be something you see in shadow, which is why I did black on black. So all I'm going to do is get this covered. If it goes down the sides, I'll clean it up a little bit. I'm not worried about covering the sides because I didn't do anything to the sides on this one. I do want to worry about getting it all the way into the cross areas, the little nooks. And so I'll use a brush as needed, micro brush is needed to kind of chip that way and get it in there so it's covering everything. But I do want this to be nice and covered, and I'm using the 4-hour fast cure just because the 1-hour fast promise 1-hour cure, I love it. But when you do it on bigger surfaces like this and it cures in an hour, sometimes it's not a blush per se, but it looks a little not as glass-like. And so using the 4 hours is that that middle ground where I know tomorrow morning when I come back to this, I can put my vinyl on because it'll be cured hard enough. Because at 4 hours, I still wouldn't put vinyl on here just because it's gonna be not tacky, but it won't release vinyl as easily as if I let this cure for several hours, as you know, like a 24-hour cure. So giving this at least 18 hours or so will make sure that I can put vinyl on without risking it sticking to the resin. And now I'd have to deal with that. And it can leave imprints in the resin when you put vinyl on it so quickly after it's cured. And so I don't want to do any of that. So I'm just going to wait. And there were still a few pieces of the vinyl that I saw when I turned off my camera. So luckily I saw all those. So they should be gone now. And I like how this looks right now. because I want to make sure that if it is coming over the side at all, I smooth it out. I will still take my finger and make sure that if it did come over the side, it's smooth. Perfect. Great. Clean my hand off here. And then just put the rest where it needs it. There's a little dimpling here and there. And then I'll grab my heat gun. Yeah, this is a good amount. This is a great amount. And just give the rest on there. Like so. And then I'm gonna clean my gloves with a wipe here so I can use my heat gun and I don't have to get rid of my gloves. There we go. All right, grab a heat gun and we'll get this cleaned up. I want my broad heat gun, I'm not going with the pinpoint attachment on it. I want a broader heat spread out distributions, meaning, so I'm not going to use the heat gun that I have the little attachment on like I use for waves and such, because I don't need anything that strong. I'm going to use my broader heat gun, and I can remove the attachment, but I don't want to, and I have 2 heat guns, so why not? Right. For a moment, I thought that there were bubbles deep that I couldn't get out, but you can still see the the sponge texture in the paint a little bit, and I actually kind of like that. That's kind of cool. I thought it would disappear a lot more than that. I'm just going to go around with my stick this time, just to kind of clean up the edges where the paint dripped off, because I put the heat on it, which lowers the viscosity, which makes it run. And again, all this is good because I have still another layer of resin to put on after this, so it will be all good in the end. But this looks great to me. If it's not quite at the edges, it's okay, because again, another layer of resin. I need this part to be working well so I can put my words on there. Make sure that's, and then since everything is for the most part clean of bubbles, I'm going to just use my torch really quickly. Maybe these things run out of fuel so quickly for me. There we go. I know I should let it settle for 2 minutes, but I don't have it. 2 minutes to wait. So it looks like I have a couple little bits in it, like right here, there's a quote bubble looking part that won't come out. So that's probably something. And then I dropped some fuzz right there when I was going over it. Everything looks good. Where's this? And again, not the last layer. I'll have an opportunity to sand this down before I put on my, I'll sand it down before I put my vinyl on it, simply because the vinyl is going to be opaque. So I don't have to worry about seeing any sanded parts before, through the vinyl, the wording. And so I don't worry about that. But what I would worry about is that vinyl not wanting to stick when I try to put another resin coat on. So that's why I was sanded, just to give it, again, that tooth to make things stick, because resin is so glass-like that things don't want to stick to it all the time. So always make sure, if you have the ability to sand your resin, do that. If you're putting another coat of resin on like 8 hours after, you don't really have to sand it because it's 24 hours later you want to sand it. But if you're putting anything on it, if you're painting it, if you're doing anything like that, and you can sand it to just make sure it all is going to stick, I'd say sand it. So I'll come back tomorrow and we'll put some words on here and put our final coat on. So I'll see you soon. All right, guys, I am back. This is nice and cured. I went through a lot to get these letters printed the way I wanted them to, just trying a different font. And now they are printed. They're on this really pretty, like, brownie, coppery, metallic paper I have. And it's got some texture to it. I really like this paper. But now I have to put these letters on. And it's this vinyl, this transfer tape I have is not very strong. And it's really a pain to get it to release, to hold on to these things. And so I'm actually doing it in separate little strips like this, just to make sure. I'm going to put a little fold on the end of this one, just to make sure that I can get it down, because now I have to take this strip off. It's a real big pain, y'all. It's a real big pain. So I will get it done. There's a good chance I'm going to be fast forwarding because it's going to take a moment for me to do all of these the way I want to do them without losing all my lettering, because it really doesn't want to stick. This is like a no-name brand transfer paper because I didn't want to use my strong grip paper, but then you have to deal with the fact that you can't get your letters to stick, because if I pull quickly, it's not going to pull it. So when you're trying to do it and it doesn't want to stick, you have to really go tight to the piece and pull really tight to it, because that way your letters will stick. And even then, you want to go slowly and just adjust your hand to keep this tight, because as soon as you come up like this, your letter like that is not going to come off of your backing. So I'm just going to get these done. I will fast forward through this and we'll come back and do the final layer of resin on this piece. And I will be happy. So as you saw, if you saw, I cut it and I kind of waved it around because while I do have the grid lines here, I didn't want to have to worry about what grid line fit with what other grid line. And so in creating the waves, I could see if this peak here, then this valley here matches. So that's why I cut them out all weird and wavy. So I'm just going to get this. I have a little residue I'll have to get off of here and pull off all these. Oops. What are we doing here? Why are you ripping? Here we go. Pull off my transfer tape from all of them. Leaving the little dog-eared tail really helps because then I don't have to worry about trying to get this transfer tape off. I can just pull it off. Except for if I do that and leave that on there. Where did I dog get that one? I love this vinyl because it's metallic but not shiny. So you get that metallic feel to it, but you don't have that pop of overt shininess that can make it kind of hard to see sometimes. But this is really, really pretty vinyl. I like it a lot. Ah, this is a comma. This is a comma. I'm gonna have to move this somehow. I thought it had twisted, but it didn't. So I'm gonna just, let me look and see how it was on in my Cricut. Because it looks like it actually is supposed to be like that. Let me put it how it is supposed to be. It's a weird little comma. It is supposed to be kind of sideways. Okay, that works. Just kind of get that stuck as it should be. We'll leave it just like that. It's okay. It works out. And okay. So let's pull off the rest of this. Everything is sticking to me. There we go. It comes off. That's why I didn't want to use the super strong transfer tape. This is a colon. I know this one is wonky, so I'm going to move that. There, that works. Oh, girl, what are we doing? There we go. And so this is what I mean, because you can see kind of the impression of this tape on this resin. That's what I meant when I said that you don't want to put things strong on there too soon after it's cured, because it's not cured, but it is hard enough for me to do this. But I'm definitely going to rely on the fact that I need a second top coat to kind of clear this up. Oh, these sticky stuff. Now I need to put the words on here, the Bible verse. So let me get this taken off. It was Psalm 23:4. So I'm just going to use this little one and hopefully bring this off nice and easily. Even though it's so tiny, it's hard to fold it as easily. Just really keeping it low and peeling it back slowly. There we go. And so I want to dog ear this already, so I don't have to worry about trying to do that while it's on there. There we go. We'll put that right around here. Hopefully it's straight because I'm not even paying attention. And yeah, that looks good. There we go. Wonderful. Let me see what you see. Ooh, I like how that looks so much. Ah, it looks so pretty. I'm going to use some Windex, clean this up. I hate to do it because this resin is so new. Okay, I'm going to do some alcohol first rather than the Windex. And just kind of spot clean it where I've had my fingers. And that's just so my resin sticks, because that's important. And I can go over this lightly too. It's going to create dust because I'm going over a rougher patch. So I definitely have to deal with the fact that I just put a bunch of dust on there. And the way I'm going to deal with that is to find what I'm looking for here, right here. It's these paper, the face cleaning cloths. They're a little more lint-free than paper towels. Oops. So I'm just going to dust this. I may have to blow this off too, or use like my roller. My lint roller to kind of get that lint off, because I really Don't want that there. So I'm just going to get a fresh piece of tape on the lint roller. Like that. And just kind of go over it. This is not helpful. I don't like it. So I'm just going to use some tape. This is very linty. I don't like that. And I will clean it up again, but not over the letters. I'll just use that face cleaning cloth and just around where I put the lint roller, because it just left a little bit of residue. I really love how the shadow of the valley is in the background. I think that looks so cool. And I'm super excited because I'm going to pour this with another layer of the Jadiction 4-hour fast cure. And it's like 10:30 at night right now. So this will be ready for me to deal with in the morning. And I'm excited about that. Jeez. That paper is rough. And so it's kind of kicking up lint. It's because it's a rougher texture. But that's okay. Just go over, picking up all the lint that wants to come up. All right, that looks better. There's a couple more pieces here. We're not going to be too precious about it, I think. I think I've got it pretty well. I don't see any like flyaway lint pieces anymore, but just note to self, don't put tape or brush over that kind of paper. All right, I'm going to mix up probably 8 ounces of resin this time because I didn't have enough last time to really get the edges done, and I really want to get this flooded. So I'm going to mix up 8 ounces of resin, and I will be right back. All right, my resin is all mixed up. I'm so excited. I love this piece so much. I had one more little piece that I was going to kind of get my Q-tip here and try to clean just that comma that I was messing as I just throw resin or alcohol all over the whole piece. But it's just alcohol, so it's okay. Just gonna get that cleaned up a little bit better right there. Blow that dry. Okay, just dry. Blow dry, 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 dry. There we go. Okay, so now I've got my resin mixed up. I ended up making like 9.5 ounces because I over poured. And so I did. And that's the end of that story. But I absolutely will use it all on this piece. If it drips, I'm okay. This is the kind of flood coat where I understand that I am going to have excess drippage, but that is part of this flood coat game, unfortunately. And it's not even unfortunate. It's just what happens. Get it under that resin piece, under the cross, I should say, on that edge. Same here. Making sure it goes over. I'm gonna get a stick. Just get some and put it between here again because I'm flooding everything, not just the pieces that we can see. I want them all flooded. Coming in between here where that will be. And I will definitely use that again. This is again the 4-hour fast cure, so it will cure overnight, which is lovely. I will cover this with my big dust cover and make sure that I don't have any dust bunnies flying in it. That my big dust cover is not big enough to cover the whole thing, so I will post some sticks or cups around it so I can mount my desk cover over it, but it's too big. It's like 18 inches exactly. So this piece is 18 inches, so that won't work because I've had it before where I've had it touching the piece as it cured, and that was really annoying. That's not ideal because I didn't know, and then I have to deal with making it, doing another coat. All right, just getting all this to the edges here. Pour this side. Kind of just right up to the edge. Like this. That way I don't have to worry about trying to get this all the way up here. I know it'll be covered. And so when I go to heat this, I know these parts are already nice and covered, which is the name of the game. That is my goal, making sure I have nice coverage everywhere. Get that out of there. I did, oh, I forgot. On the last time when I was pouring the clear coat, I did take my finger and put a little resin on it and then kind of brush over this so there's some shiny parts to the cross. Not that it's overtly shiny, but you can see there's a little resin shine. I put some on here just so there was a little bit of shine to it. I didn't want it entirely like satin finish like it was. So I did that off camera. I forgot to tell you about that. All right, so let me pour this and get this spread out. That's what I like about this 4-hour, because you really do have to spread it out. Whereas epoxy, if I were to do this, it would just be flowing everywhere. You just have a little bit more of a workability to this resin, I think. And so your ability to kind of control where it's going to go is better. Because like this is not moving. I have to move this because it thickens up so quickly. So I get to spread this out as I like it to spread, rather than just losing control of it just flowing everywhere, which is very nice. Because again, ultimately, I need this to go over the sides, but I don't want it to just run over and now I have to collect resin from the table. Even though I've given myself, as you can see, a clean surface on which to work, I don't want to have to collect resin from this surface to kind of make up for lost resin because it's flowing too quickly. All right. I just want to make sure every surface that I need wet is wet, so that way when I use my heat gun on here, it will flow evenly off of where it needs to. I'm actually kind of glad I made 9.5 ounces, almost 10, because that was a good amount. Because now that I get the top surface is pretty covered. I can use the top surfaces because it's thick. It's like puddled, and I can go over the sides. Because before I use my heat gun, I forgot to put on a second glove, but before I use my heat gun this time, I want the sides to be very wet with wet resin, so it will flow evenly down and I don't have to worry about it kind of dribbling here and there. I want a nice even coat on the sides, although I'm never really that kind of precious about my sides either. They're good, but if they're not perfect, they're not perfect. It's okay. Like, I'm going to take some off of there because there's a lot on that side and I don't need too much on this side, so I'm going to put that back in the middle. And I think everything is wet. So now I'll get my heat gun and a new glove or two to pop my bubbles, oops, and even this out. Take the wet resin off of there. All right, and I don't need another glove. I can use my wipes. I don't need to. I love these wipes so much. Let me grab some of that. I don't want to waste gloves because I'm cheap like that. There we go. Wipes and a paper towel. And the glove is as good as clean enough to use my heat gun. All right. Again, I just used this heat gun this afternoon, but still I'm going to start it away from my piece, especially on black, because black shows everything. I'm also going to take my wipe, and I'm going to wipe my heat gun off before I turn it on and make it hot, just to make sure I don't have any dust on my heat gun at all either. So wipe down your heat gun, then turn it on away from your piece, and then you can use it on your piece. There, see that there is something because it's not going away. I'm getting the dust as I see it. Void here, so I'm going to borrow from my table. And that's why you want to always use a clean surface, especially if you're doing your top coat. Use a clean surface so you can borrow from your table if you need it. And make sure if you're pausing, don't point your heat gun at your piece while you pause, because you don't want to burn your resin, because you can burn it with this heat gun also, not just fire. That looks good. Now, I'm just kind of going down at the level. Like I see something here that looks like it could be a bubble, but it's not moving with heat, so that was not a bubble. What's this? This is just something in there, like a piece of tape or from the vinyl or something. That works. Just kind of angling myself so I can see kind of everywhere. And this looks good. All right, I'm not gonna bother it too much because I don't want to keep on waving my clothes over it. Now, as far as putting it away for the night, I'm just gonna put some cups here that are taller than my piece. And then as my little dust cover that I use, I always store it closed and pointing downward, so I'm not collecting dust in it like it was an umbrella. So don't store your covers up, you know, sitting on the floor or wherever you put them up, like a bowl, because you're just collecting dust and you'll put the dust in your piece as soon as you turn it over or put it over your piece. My little tips for the day. Things I've learned over the years by making that mistake. So I'm gonna put this away, moving very slowly. You don't disrupt the air. Put your cups where you want them. Everything is on my table still. Put that cup where I want it. And it's hard because these cups are flimsy. I probably should have used a heavier set of cups. So it's there. Put it on one side. Babe, move. Put it on one side. Put it on the other side. And walk away from your room. As soon as they're level, or they're balanced and all on, whoop, like that slipped. Make sure they're nice and covered so nothing goes awry in the night. Always peek under still. Make sure it's not touching anything it shouldn't be touching. Like right now, it's too close to my piece. I didn't even notice that. So I'm gonna go, I didn't notice that. You see? Gotta be careful. I didn't put those high enough. And I put these too low. So, and I put a piece of dust in there by doing all that movement right here. Just get that out. There. All right, so now let's try this again, actually covering the whole piece. All right. So these go, well, to really get everything out of the way before I do this, but I didn't do that. There. Okay, I think that's good. Let me double check that it's covering. Check from both sides, making sure that it's not touching anything. It looks good. I'm out. I'll see you all tomorrow for the final reveal. Bye. All right, guys, it is completely done. I absolutely love it. I can't really show it, so I'm holding my camera so I can show you somewhat. Sorry. Hi, good morning. That's me. But I absolutely love that. I love the shadow of the valley in the background. I think that's beautiful. And I love the different, like the different kind of looks you get. I don't know if it'll come over in camera, but you get a different look to the words when you look at it from different angles. And the cross is beautiful, as always. I love this mold. Sorry about my messy table behind you. But there it is. I absolutely love it. I'll clean up the back. I haven't done it yet, but I just wanted to show you guys this final result. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I'll try to get a better picture in the end, but bye for now. All right, so this is I think this is probably gonna be one of the better pictures I'm able to get because of course it's resin and it's black, so it's reflecting everything. But, hi, this is the piece. I'm super happy with it. Sorry, so much in the reflection, but I think it's beautiful. Let me step back and just kind of zoom in. Let me not fall down my stairs either. I absolutely love it. Thank you guys for watching. I'll get you closer. Let me know what you think, and bye for now.